Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Juana Andrew here with you this morning as we're keeping an eye on what's going on the Sherman Mitten Bridge. By the way, if you haven't heard yet, both directions of the Sherman Mitten closed right now until further notice. They're doing some emergency repairs. Initially, it was just the westbound lanes. Now it's both directions that are closed on the Sherman Mitten. So if this is usually your way to get around, yeah, you're going to have to find an alternate route. 265 and 65 will be probably your best options when it comes to this. So we have a whole lot going on. And good morning to everyone who is watching this morning. Ellen, good morning. Good morning to you as well. Michelle in Linden. Good morning, Zeta. I don't know how to pronounce that. Please let me know. I actually really like your name. Good morning, Angela and Radcliffe. And good morning, Nancy. And Nancy, I agree. This heat is something else. But it's summer, so this is what to be expected. And keep in mind, we've actually seen less of these 90-degree days overall compared to what we typically see by this time of the year. So overall, the summer so far has been pretty cool. So we're really actually finally kicking it into gear. So yesterday was our 13th day in the 90s. And today, if we hit that 90-degree mark, which it really looks like we will, it will be our 14th. And just continues that heat wave we have going on. Something else we have to watch for today, the air quality alert. Yes, we have those out for those of you in Southern Indiana and for the Louisville Metro. With this, we have elevated levels of ozone. So basically, since the air is just so stagnant and we have a lot of everyone just driving around and all of that kind of things, ozone starts to build at the lower levels of the atmosphere. The upper levels, it's pretty good. It helps actually to protect us from the sun's rays at the upper levels of the atmosphere. But when it's close to the ground, it's bad for us overall. So if you have any breathing issues or any heart issues, today is a day that you want to maybe limit your time outside. That is for sure. Let's just go through everyone saying good morning. Good morning to you, Kentucky girl. I know you always watch, so thank you for watching this morning. Good morning, Kenneth. Good morning, Stephen in Simpsonville. Good morning to you, Jason. Hi, Jason in Cloverport. Good morning to Dolores in Bardstown. Melissa says she went on that bridge last week and it was absolutely terrifying. I'm not a fan of bridges or water, so the combination of the two always freaks me out. So I'm with you on that. Melissa, I'm not good with heights either. I feel like I'm short, so I'm supposed to be close to the ground, and I like to stay there. Angela, compared to out west, we really shouldn't complain much about this heat. You are right, Angela. Everyone out west is dealing with way worse of the heat than we are, and we have been. We've actually, as I mentioned earlier, haven't seen a lot of this heat so far this year. So this is the first time that we're really getting into a heat wave situation across the region, especially with this type of heat showing up. And that is going to be the big thing. Nancy, this one made me laugh. Mother Nature's acting as if she's having a huge hot flash. Honestly, a little bit of that. And it's not just us, it's actually most of the northern hemisphere has been dealing with just incredible amounts of heat. So here, Europe, parts of Asia, all dealing with these massive heat waves. So I think a lot of people are just like, let's skip over this. We kind of skipped over spring a little bit. We skipped over winter a little bit and just went super into summer. And now we're fully into it. That's for sure. So we're just going to be keeping an eye on how things evolve. We have the heat advisory, of course, for today, and we have another one out for tomorrow. For today, we're talking about those heat indices near 100 to 105. So overall, it is pretty hot across the area, and we're starting off in the 80s in a lot of spots. So upper 70s and low 80s right now. It was a struggle for the Louisville Metro to even drop below that 80-degree mark at the airport this morning, just showing you how incredibly hot it's been overnight and into this morning. Once you get into the afternoon, we're talking low to mid 90s for your highs, and you factor in that humidity. Going to feel like that 105-degree mark. So if you can limit your time outside, I know some people do have to work outside, but if you can limit your time outside, please do it as much as possible. Just make sure you're staying safe, because heat stroke, heat exhaustion, it can be incredibly deadly. Heat is the number one weather-related killer, by the way, in the United States. So we just want to make sure that everyone is okay. Arizona has had a number of heat-related deaths, and we don't want to add on to that total in Kentucky and Indiana at all. But we are mainly in that sticky and miserable category across the area right now. So I like to call that miserable category just disrespectful when it comes to the humidity, because it's just so high. And that is why we're talking about that heat index really trying to climb into the low hundreds across the area. So yeah, it's summer. I don't know if I'm a fan, but hey, it is what it is. But Kentucky Girl brings up a good point. Not as much heat and not as many bugs. I've noticed the same thing. Usually at this time of the year, I am eaten alive by mosquitoes. I think I've gotten maybe 1 or 2 bites so far this year, and I spent a decent amount of time outside. I've been to numerous Racing Louisville Lou City games, and usually I get bitten up quite a bit when I'm at those. No one else ever does, but it's always me. But yeah, we haven't had as much of a heat, and like we had a little bit of spring. Denise brings up when we had a lot of that severe weather. Remember all that wind and all of that we had across the area, because we kind of just really didn't have much of a winter, so we kind of went straight into spring. So yeah, we had a little bit of spring. So if you could actually get all of the seasons as we continue through the rest of the year and into next year, that would be some good. Yes, and Melissa brings up a good point. If anyone has anything delivered, whether it be a package or food delivery, please keep an eye out for those drivers if you can. Some of those drivers don't have, especially when they're delivering packages, don't have AC in their vehicles. So if you can like hand them a bottle of water, whatever you can do, make sure everybody is okay in this. And also don't forget your pets, please. Once you start to get into this kind of heat, the asphalt, the concrete can easily jump to 120, 130 degrees Fahrenheit. It's incredibly hot. So if you cannot hold your hand down onto the pavement or onto the asphalt for 7 seconds, it is not safe for your pet's paws. This is an easy way for them to get blisters on their paws, and we just don't want that for our furry friends. So please keep them in mind, as well as this heat just continues over the next few days. Angela, you described it well. Sauna weather, that is for sure. And Nancy agrees with me. Disrespectful with this kind of heat and humidity that we have. We're keeping an eye on the radar as well. We did see a couple of isolated downpours earlier this morning. We have a cold front off towards our west, but this one not really going to do a whole lot for us. We do see some rain in the forecast for later on today, so that is good. But keep in mind, not everyone is going to see the rain today. A lot of us are just going to be straight up hot, straight up dry. But for the choice few that get some of these showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. It is going to help to cool you down. But we look to stay dry through the lunch hour. As we get into the afternoon, a few of these isolated showers and thunderstorms trying to fire up across the area. Right now, this particular model keeps some of them, most of them outside of our region, but I do think a few will pop up in wave country through the afternoon into the evening. And we'll keep that chance around towards midnight before things start to fade overnight. So this is not a widespread situation in terms of the rain at all. Only a few of us are going to get these downpours, but some of those downpours could be on the stronger side with some gusty winds and heavy rain. So overall, just want to make sure that we keep that in mind. And Nancy also brings up another really good point. Don't forget the water bottles for those bus riding kids. Not every bus, or I think a lot of buses don't even have AC. So we do have Greater Clark County schools in session right now. So please find those indoor activities. I know JCPS as well has canceled a lot of those outdoor activities after noon today. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Make sure everyone is staying safe. Angela also says, don't forget the feral cats. Yes, we have to remember the kitties too that are running around as well. So everybody, we want everyone that's human. We want all our furry friends to be okay in this kind of heat. So this is what I was mentioning. We still have that marginal risk of severe weather out for areas basically north and east of Louisville. So from Seymour to Louisville over towards Frankfort, included in this marginal risk, just that potential for some strong wind gusts with any of those thunderstorms that do pop for today, because we just have so much heat and so much moisture across the area. Perfect fuel for any storm that does form. Remember, this is not a widespread issue. A lot of us are just going to be hot and just straight up dry across the area for today. But for those of you who do get one of those downpours, if you have that wave weather app downloaded and you get the notification with Kevin Harned's voice going, precipitation has been reported in your area, that is when you know that you have to make sure you keep a close eye on the radar just in case that storm near you gets stronger. And some of these could produce some pretty locally heavy rain, maybe around a half an inch to an inch, depending on how slow they go. But we'll just watch it. And something else has been bugging a lot of people, those allergies. We switched from the trees over to the grasses. I did not know that I was allergic to Kentucky bluegrass until I moved to Kentucky. So that was a rude awakening for me. And for me, it's been bugging me. It's been messing with my voice for the past week. It was just, yeah, it's been a lot for so many people. And of course, the grass is going to be a big part of the allergy report for the next few days, especially since we do not have much rain in the forecast. So if you have allergies, make sure you're taking your medication, make sure you're taking your Flonase, make sure you're taking care of yourself. And if you're like me, make sure you're drinking plenty of water too, to make sure everything's okay. Because these allergies are just no joke right now. I feel like the allergies have been so bad for my eye. My right eye has been twitching on and off since Monday because of the pollen count that have been on the higher side. Bobby, great Kevin voice. Thank you. Hopefully he wasn't watching. I hear it so often. I think I can do it in my sleep at this point. But yeah, just make sure you have that wave weather out just in case we get any of these downpours showing up. And we can't forget about tomorrow as well, because tomorrow potentially could be the hottest day of the year so far. We're going to put that caveat in there, so far, with highs for the metro near 98. For outside of Louisville, I'm looking at around 93 to 96 for the actual temperature. That heat index could climb to near 107, 108 in some spots. So it is going to be straight up hot for tomorrow. So a heat advisory out for everybody for tomorrow as well, to make sure you are taking precautions then. Then we get into the weekend, Saturday. Still going to be dealing with that heat. Saturday is Fill the Fam for Lou City. If you're heading out to that game and you see me, wave hi. I will be there, most likely in a hat and with chugging water and probably yelling a lot as well at the team. But yeah, so if you're heading out to any of the events, we have so much going on this weekend, just making sure that you're taking precautions and you're staying weather aware, because it's not just the heat that we have to watch on Saturday, but this cold front dipping down into the region. As early as Saturday afternoon, we can start to see some scattered showers and storms. It does look like the best rain chance Saturday will be later on at night into early on your Sunday morning. So we do need certainly this rain, but of course it's just going to be a little bit toasty before the rain moves in. So we'll have to keep an eye on the strength of some of those storms as well. Angela says, my doctor calls it the Kentucky crud. Yeah, it's so different. So many people I know, like when I have family who come to visit, they don't have allergies. As soon as they get here, all of a sudden it's just sinuses, everything is just a mess. So just once again, take care of yourselves. Yeah, and many people don't have AC. So if you know someone who doesn't have AC, make sure you're checking on them. Make sure you're checking on the elderly, especially if they live alone, so we need to make sure that everyone gets through this okay. It's not as hot as what they're seeing out west, but it's still something that is incredibly dangerous to our health. Broderick, good morning. Asks, do you think it would be too hot to walk Saturday morning? How early Saturday morning are you thinking? Because it's going to be difficult for the Louisville Metro, and I know you're in Louisville, to fall below 80 degrees come Saturday morning. It's going to be very, very hot. So if you're going to walk, I would suggest you do that as early as possible on Saturday, before the sun is fully up, so you're not just in the middle of that blazing heat. So that's for sure. Marty had a good question. Is some of the haze this morning excuse me, from the fires in Canada? Yes, we do still have some of those that wildfire smoke drifting overhead. Let me see if I can find. Uh, so everyone always says when we're on this, the everything's just so tiny, and I already don't have great vision, so I'm trying to find it. Um, mm, 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 mm. I do not know. I do not know where that graphic is. Okay, so just to explain, Marty, yes, we do have some of that smoke overhead that is just the upper levels of the atmosphere. So that's contributing to the haze, but also we've just been so dry and there's just not a lot of movement in the atmosphere right now. So a lot of the pollutants are starting to build up a little bit more at the lower levels of the atmosphere. That's also contributing to some of the haze that we're dealing with. So it's a mix of the two across the area right now. Broderick, you walk every Saturday at 9 a.m. If you can head out maybe a little bit earlier, 8:30. So, because once you get that sun further up in the atmosphere, especially come Saturday morning, it's just going to be so hot, so humid. We're still going to be dealing with a heat index that early. So, the earlier you can do it, the better you can do it, and maybe make it a shorter walk. I'm giving you permission for a shorter walk. On Saturday. So, yeah, we just have to keep an eye on everything going on across the region over the next 10 days, really. And as we get into next week, one nice thing is that the front that moves through Saturday is going to usher in some cooler air. So that means come Sunday and Monday, we're talking 80s for highs. And that is just, for a lot of people, is going to be a relief. Some of you love this heat. I know there's some people out there that just, some of my friends just absolutely adore this heat, but others are just like, bring on the 80s. So I completely understand both sides. We get into next week. By Wednesday, we could try to get back into the low 90s across the area. And then another system moves in towards Thursday of next week. That could bring us a little bit more of that rain and some cooler air. Things are trending cooler towards the following weekend. So that's something that we'll be watching pretty closely. Katie, we're going to melt. It feels that way, doesn't it? I've been trying to avoid just going outside as much as possible, which is why between the allergies and the fact that it's so hot and humid, you probably won't see me out in the weather garden for a while because I'm just trying to make sure that my voice stays and also that I am not a human popsicle. And full point. We want just I'm gonna follow my own advice and make sure I'm taking care of myself as well. So we have a lot going on over the next 10 days, but of course, we will be watching it all for you and with you here at Wave News. So just make sure that you are staying tuned and we will keep you updated. So everyone have a good day. Stay cool, stay safe, and you'll catch me on midday.